Without a shadow of a doubt, Bill Russell was the cornerstone of the Boston Celtics that ruled the 1960s. Mans was an incredible defensive stopper who proved that you could be a star while doing most of the work on the defensive end of the floor. The wiry center collected 21,620 career rebounds for an average of 22.5 per game and led the league in rebounding 4 times. He was so good at cleaning the glass that in one unforgettable game, he gathered a mind-boggling 51 boards and 49 boards in 2 other games. Russell also had a dozen consecutive seasons where he grabbed 1,000 or more rebounds. Whoa. He was eventually named the league's most valuable player 5 times and was also a 12-time All-Star. As the late Pulitzer Prize winning sports writer of the Los Angeles Times, Jim Murray, wrote many decades ago, Bill Russell's skills don't show in the record book. They show in the scorebook. His is the most extraordinary history of achievement in all of athletics. No one in the whole fabric of athletics dominates his event the way Russell does. His many individual accolades were well deserved, but they were only products of Russell's philosophy of team play. His greatest accomplishment, of course, was giving the storied Celtics franchise 11 championships in 13 seasons. Until the ascent of the GOAT Michael Jordan or even LeBron, Russell was praised by many as the greatest player in the history of the NBA. Now those of you that count rings, then Bill Russell still is the GOAT. But anyway, with the NBA enjoying the offseason, us fans had a lot of time to think about one thought involving Russell crossing our minds. How great would Bill Russell be in today's NBA? Could he excel and be a star much like he did back in the 60s? But before we unfold our analysis, please subscribe if you love your mama if you aren't subscribed. Let's get to it.
Meanest player.
Bill Russell explored basketball's depths from the inside out.
Size. Russell was measured to be 6 feet and 9.6 inches tall. In today's NBA, he would be listed at 6'10", and he would fit right in. He would have no problem going toe-to-toe against the league's top big men such as Anthony Davis or Karl Anthony Towns. However, at just 215 pounds, he would perhaps have some difficulty dealing with the bulk and strength of Nikola Jokic, who weighs 284 pounds, and Joel Embiid, who comes in at 280. Athleticism. Besides basketball, Russell represented the University of San Francisco in track and field events. Russell was particularly great in the high jump, ranking as the 7th best high jumper in the world in 1956. That same year, Russell won high jump titles at the Central California AAU meet, the Pacific AAU meet, and the West Coast Relays. One of his highest jumps occurred at the West Coast Relays, where he achieved a mark of 6 feet 9¼ inches. At the meet, Russell tied Charlie Dumas, who later in that year won gold in the Melbourne Olympics for the United States, and became the first person to high jump 7 feet. Russell also competed in the 440-yard race, which he could complete in 49.6 seconds. Russell, of course, uses quickness and athleticism to hold a great advantage over his opponents on the court. He could grab a defensive rebound, throw an outlet before he landed, run the floor, shoot a layup on the other end, and be there for an offensive rebound again if needed. With the kind of athleticism and speed that Russell had, there's no doubt that he would keep up in today's pace and space game. He was quick on his feet, which meant he would have been able to keep up with the league's best guards and wingmen, yet large enough to battle the behemoths in the shaded lane.
If you come back, we'll do it again. If you come back again, we'll do it another time.
Defense. Do we really even need to discuss this? Russell was the greatest defensive NBA center that ever came through the league. He could handle the big men like Wilt Chamberlain inside, and Wilt Chamberlain is more athletic than any big man today, but that's a different story. And Russell was quick enough to stay in front of crafty guards like Jerry West on the perimeter. He would switch from his man to take on Oscar Robertson 25 feet away from the hoop, and then switch back to his man in the paint without missing a beat. His ability to leave his man and slide over to cover an opponent driving to the hoop was startling. He was unmatched at swooping across the lane like a bird to block and alter shots. The rest of the Celtics defenders began to funnel their man towards Russell and become more daring with their perimeter defense, knowing that he was looming behind. All of this played mind games with opposing shooters near the basket and had a disrupting effect as they began to sense Russell's imposing presence. Boom, he was there with a block. Boom, there again. It's so unfortunate that the league didn't keep track of either steals or blocks during Russell's time. It would have been astounding to know how many of those he had. It is noteworthy that he was such a smart defender that he only averaged 2.7 fouls per game in 42.3 minutes of play.
I mean, he took defensive basketball and made it an art form.
What a block by Russell!
He thought he was the best defensive player in play. He also thought he was the best all-around player in play.
Offense. It needs to be understood that Russell was never really a volume scorer, and really, there was no need for him to take on that role. For his career, Russell only averaged 15.1 points per game, with his best scoring season during the 1961-62 year when he normed 18.9 points per game. With so many offensive weapons on those juggernaut Celtics teams such as Bob Cousy, Bill Sharman, Sam Jones, John Havlicek, Willie Knowles, and Tom Heinsohn, Russell turned his focus to defense. In today's game, he would need more offensive moves under the hoop and at least a reliable mid-range shot, but we firmly believe that he could have added those skills if he needed to. He was also a decent passer for a big man, averaging 4.3 dimes in his career.
Implemented the skills he had, he became, I think, the most productive center that's ever played the game.
Rebounding. Rebounding was another Russell specialty, as he averaged 22.5 boards per game for his career, totaling more than 21,000 boards in that span. He once grabbed 51 rebounds against the Syracuse Nationals in the 1959-1960 season. It ranks as the second best rebounding effort in NBA history, behind Wilt Chamberlain's 55 against the Celtics during the next season. Only Chamberlain competed with Russell as an all-time rebounder in NBA history. Granted, Russell wouldn't be able to average that many in today's game with all the great rebounders there are, but it's still safe to say he would still average double-figure rebounds. Basketball savvy. All of the above traits don't mean a damn if a basketball player lacks the intelligence and savvy to lead a team to victory. Russell had both in spades, as he knew how to win, had a passion for winning, and was a consummate professional. As Celtics player Don Nelson told the Boston Herald, "There are two types of superstars. One makes himself look good at the expense of the other guys on the floor. There's another type who makes the players around him look better than they are. And that's the type Russell was." Russell understood the importance of playing team ball, and he once wrote, "To me, one of the most beautiful things to see is a group of men coordinating their efforts toward a common goal, alternately subordinating and asserting themselves to achieve real teamwork in action. I tried to do that. We all tried to do that on the Celtics. I think we succeeded." The fact that he led the Celtics to 11 championship titles speaks volumes about his basketball smarts. Conclusion. Without a doubt, Russell could play and be a star in today's NBA. He had decent size, supreme athleticism, smothering defense, uncanny rebounding, basketball IQ, quickness, and the indomitable will to win. Russell didn't exactly get that recognition he earned and deserved, in part to his outspokenness on racism and his squabbles with the Boston media. The man, the legend, revolutionized the game of basketball and gave it a massive boost in popularity at a time when it was needed badly. Now that does it. Please give a thumbs up if you made it this far. Subscribe if you're new. Appreciate the view. And as always, thank you for watching.